All right, just a quick review, and maybe you can, if you missed something on your notes, you can fill that in. Inventory, we define that as merchandise held for sale or anything in the process of production. And this chapter, we learn how to calculate this number, okay, the cost of goods sold number. We already know these journal entries. We know these accounts. We did these in chapter 6. But we were given this number. But in this chapter, we figure out that number and to put into our journal entry. Okay, we had the 4 methods. Specific identification, FIFO, LIFO, and average cost. Specific identification would be for unique items or items that have their own unique identification number. So works of art, jewelry, automobiles have their own VIN number. So those would be examples of products that would use specific identification. FIFO is first in, first out. The first ones that you purchase are the first ones that you sell. LIFO is last in, first out. The most recent ones you purchase are the first ones to be sold. FIFO would be for like perishable, okay, produce, meats, fruits, things like that. LIFO would theoretically be for, non-perishable stuff. We mentioned nails or screws, something, shampoo, even something like that. Average cost would be used for a product that you couldn't separate. They all mix together. So gasoline or something like that. So gasoline is the best example for that. Even with, if you think of like gravel or mulch, it's really kind of last in, first out with that because you pile it on top and then you take away from the top. So so average cost would be, something that mixes together. Okay, so we went through each of those. Okay, our inventory systems, perpetual and periodic. We're doing perpetual because we make an entry for cost of goods sold and inventory after every sale. So perpetual means ongoing, and we do that every time we make a sale. Periodic would be where we would just record the sale, and then at the end of the month, we would go make one huge entry to cost of goods sold and inventory. All right, we went over this already as well on the financials. It affects everything. Every financial statement is affected if inventory is not accounted for correctly. So it affects your net income. A lot of people say, well, hold on a minute, inventory is an asset, it's only on your balance sheet. But it's not, because we have cost of goods sold. So cost of goods sold is on our income statement. It does affect our net income, which of course flows all the way through to the other ones as well. Okay, we did an example with the water bottles that we had in class, and we compared the two FIFO and LIFO methods, and we found out that FIFO provided a higher cost of goods sold during a period of rising prices, higher gross profit during a period of rising prices, so a lower cost of goods sold, higher gross profit. And then we did LIFO, same transactions, same numbers, but we had a different cost of goods sold, and it was higher because our prices were going up. We were selling the most recent prices, and that cost of goods sold was higher, causing our gross profit to be lower. So we did all that last class meeting. Okay, any other fill in the blank that you didn't get on your lecture notes? I got them?
What's periodic?
Do what?
Periodic.
Periodic. Periodically kept doing physical counts. So you do inventory counts.
Inventory count?
Yeah, or physical counts, either one. You go in at the end of the month and count what you've got left and make that adjusting entry. Kind of like we've done with supplies. We did that with supplies for adjusting entry for that. But cost of goods sold will be a huge number though. Others that you didn't get?
The one on physical inventory count.
The value of all merchandise. Okay, is that it? All right, so grab out the handout that I gave you the other day. If you weren't here, then you're just going to have to write it down because I don't have any more handouts. So, this grid is going to help us keep up with our inventory. And with the water bottles, we can kind of keep it up in our head. We could see we had like 3 or 4 water bottles. But here we're talking about, up to, 60, 80 units. Think if this was in terms of 8,000 units or 800,000 units of iPods, 800,000 iPods. So when we have huge numbers, we got to have some kind of system to keep up with which ones are we selling. Are we selling the ones that we paid $30 or $69 for? Or are we selling the ones that we paid $72 for? And that's going to affect our journal entry. So at the top of your sheet, you've got the transactions, and you're asked to use FIFO method. So we're going to use first in, first out. And on May 1st, they tell us the balance of iPods taken from the inventory was 15 units at $65 a piece. All right, so we're going to put in that beginning balance. This was beginning. And that just means that's what we had left over from last month, from April. Okay, so we started out the month having 15 in our inventory. And those 15 we paid $65 a piece for. You multiply quantity times cost, and you get total cost. This spreadsheet has got 3 sections. We've got purchases, cost of goods sold, and inventory. If we make a purchase, we put it in purchases. If we make a sale, we put it in cost of goods sold. And this is, we're going to keep up with inventory every time. So that's going to be our running total of inventory. On May 6th, we sold 10 units. Well, the only 10 that we have in stock are the $65 ones. So we sold 10 $65 units for a total cost of $650. And that leaves 5 $65 units left for a balance of $325. Okay, so our balance sheet as of May 6th would have inventory, if iPods were our only product, our only merchandise, it would be $325. On the 8th, we purchased 30 units at $69 a piece. So purchases go over here, 30 units, $69, and that's $2,070. And when we update our inventory, we bring down the 5 $65 units and fill in the 30 $69 units. I always put the oldest at the top. Okay, so we're looking at just that date on the 8th, just that row. Our ending inventory is made up of 5 $65 units and 30 $69 units. Okay, and we got to keep them separate because the next sale we make, first in, first out, we're going to take the 65 first. Okay? Any questions so far?
I don't understand why you put the 2 rows of numbers in that last part.
On the 8th? Like, why did I do this right here?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because our ending inventory is made up of 2 different prices. It's made up of what we paid $65 for and what we paid $69 for. So you got to keep them separate. Because if we just put 35 units, we wouldn't know which ones were 65 and which ones were 69. And it's going to matter with our journal entry, what we put for cost of goods sold.
But why don't we use separate cells for both the new and the old iPods? Each get their own little block.
Well, it goes by date.
Oh.
So they do have their own line, I guess you could say, or their own. Yeah, they are separate. But on the 8th, we had both of those. So that's why it's set up kind of like that. Okay, this might be where it starts making sense for you. On the 18th or 16th, we made a sale of 15 units. Well, which 15 did we sell?
5 of the
Five
first
of the
and
first
10
one
of the
and 10
second.
of the second one.
Okay, so we sold the 5 $65 units and 10 of the $69 units. Okay, so that leaves us with, and you can put it top or bottom either way, 20 of the $69 units. It's $13.80. Okay, so y'all see how we did that? We took first in, first out. We took the 65 cost items first. When all of those were gone, we dipped into the $69 items and sold 10 of those, which leaves 20 left. So our ending inventory column, the last column, shows 20 $69 units for a total cost of $13.80. Now our journal entry for the 16th, we can assume 1,500. Let's just say we sold them for $100 a piece. And I didn't do one for the 6th, but for the 16th, just to show you, we would have, let's say we received cash, $1,500, sales, $1,500, cost of goods sold of, let's see, what would that be, 10, 15? 9, 10, 11, 1. And then inventory of 10, 15. 1,015. Okay, so I put the selling price under sales. If we sold them for $100 a piece, we sold 15 of them, $1,500. And then our cost of goods sold and inventory entry would be based on this total here. Now, we couldn't have really kept that in the back of our mind and remembered that, because some of them were 65 costs, some of them were 69 costs. So if our computer, okay, is going to keep a little grid like this. But if you were doing it by hand, you'd have to do something like this. So got to keep them separate
So net profit
and add them up. 485. You'd have gross profit. 485 on that transaction. Okay, on the 20th, we purchased 25 units at 72. Our price keeps going up, but we can't help that. That's what they charge us. Okay, that's what Apple is charging us to buy these products. Okay, when we list this in inventory, we're going to list it. We're going to list the $69 units first, and then list the $72 units. So bring down the 20, 69 that was left over, and now you've got 25 $72 units. Okay, y'all got questions on this? Okay, keep them in order. Don't put the 72 first. Always keep the 69 first. It's the oldest cost. You're going to take from the top down. On the 23rd, we sold 25 units. Which 25 did we sell?
20 of the
49,
69.
5.
Mm-hmm.
And 5 of the 72.
5 of the 72. And that leaves 20, 72. Now, if we were doing LIFO, we would take from the bottom up. We'd take last in would be sold first. So on the 23rd, this $25 set or 25 unit sale, we would actually just sell all of the $72 units. Okay, y'all see how that would work? Okay, you would just sell all of these if we were doing LIFO, but we're doing FIFO, so we take from the top down, first in, first out. Okay, then on the 30th, we purchased 18 units, $71 a piece, $12.78. So our inventory is 20 $72 units and 18 $71 units. Notice that nowhere on this grid is our selling price. This is only cost. Okay, this is only our cost schedule or our inventory schedule. Doesn't have anything to do with the selling price. Okay. At the bottom, you're asked total cost of merchandise sold or cost of goods sold. You're just going to add up this column. And if we add that up, we get 3405. And then our inventory at May 30th is 2718. That's just this amount here in that last bottom right cell. Okay, that's our ending inventory. Okay, questions on that part of it?
I'm confused on 23. Why do we only have one? Is that, well, that's because it's the inventory, that's what we have left.
Yes, that's all we had left were 20 $72 units. Because see, we sold these 20, and we sold 5 of these. So that leaves 20 left. So that you pull it down and put it on this date.
Why don't we record the sale price?
We would do that just in the journal. This is only to get us this cost of goods sold number. Okay, that's what this schedule is for, to keep those to keep our costs separate and then add them together to get the journal entry total. And then our sales we would record in our journal, and it would post there too, account for sales and all that.
So when you do your when you're closing out your accounts for the next account, so you'd have the cost of goods on it, and then you'd have what you actually.
You'd close out both of those, yeah. You close out cost of goods sold too. Okay, so if we assume $100 selling price, how would we find our gross profit using this grid here?
You want us the cost of what you bought it for the money you made from it, and then the balance is your gross.
So how do we find out how much we made from it?
Well, you got to divvy up how much you paid for everything, and then you have to figure out what you sold each one for, which is $100, and subtract the $100 from what you bought it at. And that
okay, we've got our total that we paid for it, total cost of goods sold, right there. So if we took how many we sold, let's say 10 plus 15, that's 25, plus 25 is 50. So 50 total sold. I added up the quantity column. This is a 50 total. And if I did 50,
100.
oh, I did 100, not 1,000.
That's expensive, I bought.
Okay. So we got 5,000 sales. If we subtract the 3405, I don't know, whatever that would be. 95? 1595? Gross profit. Okay, so I took the 5,000 sales minus cost of goods sold of 3405, and that would be 1595. Yep.
Where's the 100 come from?
That was our selling price. You'll have to write that on your sheet. I just kind of came up with that. You would be told, you'd be given that, but put that at the top of your sheet, selling price 100. Because I didn't put it on this worksheet. Because it really didn't ask you. You don't really have to know that until we go to either do journal entries or to find the gross profit. So. All right, y'all good with that? We'll do another one on Thursday. David's not good with it.
That's the first thing that's really made sense to me since I've been in
price. How did you make up the selling price?
Well, because I made all this numbers up. The cost is, $65. And I said, well, let's say $100.
the cost of the company.
Yeah, cost of the company, yeah. That's what we sold, we the company sold it for.
Now I'm on board.
Got it? All right, I got 2 in the lifeboat here. Anybody else? Got it?
No, I got it. That's simple.
Okay.
Like I said, that made more sense than anything else.